So much of Dawn Approach's 2-year-old career mirrored that of his sire, New Approach. But it's at 3 that things must change. New Approach was beaten in the 2000 Guineas at Newmarket, whereas Dawn Approach is Antipo's favourite to put the family record straight.
Out in front, Dawn Approach, pressed on the far side by Cristoforo Colombo. Olympic glory between the pair, coming home strongly. Dawn Approach is hanging out in front but doing enough and will win the Coventry.
Dawn Approach now making ground rapidly in the centre of the track, and it is now Dawn Approach and Kevin Manning who come through the lead from Littermore. Designs and Rome is running on the near side, but it's going to be 5 out of 5 for Dawn Approach, running for the first time in the Godolphin Blue.
Jim, Dawn Approach wins the earliest 2-year-old race of the season. Are you really thinking to yourself at that stage, this is a classic winner in the making?
We liked him a lot, and we were hoping that he'd win first time out. And after he did, we were reasonably sure that he'd go on to do something good. We weren't thinking in terms of classics with him at that stage, but we knew that he was a pretty smart 2-year-old.
As a man who uses genetics with his horses, though, surely the genetics would have told you that if he was winning at a very early stage of the season, he's very unlikely to be a good horse later on.
Well, I don't think that winning early in the season is any indicator of whether they might or might not train on. I think if you continue to do the right thing with them, they probably will train on, and everything will work out all right. In his case, he was very fresh and exuberant, and we decided that we'd have to up his workload in February if we were to keep his head right and keep manners on him. And we did increase the speed of the canters, and then we started to do a bit of fast work with him, and he was answering all the questions. And at that stage, then I decided that we'd run him. And we felt that he'd be hard to beat first time out, and so it proved. And he just went on from there then.
As they make their way now down with still 2 furlongs to go, the yellow colours of Lettermore, the Taj, the white face of Dawn Approach. On the far side, Englishman, Indian Jake, Cristoforo Colombo is trying to stay on. Lines of Battle is another one, Artigiano. Also now Sir Prancelot's finding full stride in company with Olympic Glory is trying to close. Out in front, Dawn Approach, pressed on the far side by Cristoforo Colombo. Olympic Glory between the pair, coming home strongly. Dawn Approach is hanging out in front but doing enough and will win the Coventry.
He had a fairly easy time now during the summer. After he won the Coventry, I think he didn't run for 3 months after that, when he ran in the National Stakes at the Curragh, and then just the Dewhurst after that. And he only had the one journey to England, so the Curragh and Naas are only an hour from here, so he didn't have much travelling to do either. And after we got his back down and got him doing things right early in the season, he was easy to handle then after that.
Did he take the Dewhurst well? Was he a good traveller for that race?
Oh, he did. He travelled well, yeah. He came back the same weight, I think, as he'd left, so that would be a great indicator.
I'm interested in his running style, but to get to that, let's go via his breeding, because, of course, having bred him, you know absolutely everything on that score. New Approach, your Derby winner. Him of the Dawn, the Dam, as far as I'm aware, never won a race, but was by Phone Trick, who was a very fast top sprinter in the 1980s and has produced horses like Caller One. So you'd think on the Dam side you've got quite a bit of speed in there, and you would presumably be hoping for stamina from the Galileo New Approach side. Is that how you went into the breeding process yourself?
No, it wasn't really all that scientific.
Really? It's what I would have done, Jim.
I know
checked
you.
it out.
I know you might have done it.
You don't seem to have checked this out at all.
Not a lot. Well, I know that the Dam is a CC type, so you can mate her with anything, and you're not going to get a TT no matter where she goes. So from that point of view, she was very easy to mate. And
were you worried that she'd never won? Did that not?
I always liked her,
Right.
and she has a really good pedigree. So she was very unlucky. She was showing us a nice bit early on in her 2-year-old career, and she knuckled over one day on a gravel path and got a lot of gravel into a joint, and we never really got it right after that. She was hard enough to train, and she was placed at Gorham Park one day. So she's a really good-looking filly, or she was then a really good-looking filly, and I was always going to keep her, even though she wasn't the winner, and sure, it has turned out well now.
But that mixture of speed and stamina clearly is there in the pedigree. As far as this season is concerned with this horse, you've said already, quite understandably, see what happens in the Guineas as far as the future is concerned. But does the pedigree, how much does the pedigree suggest that Dawn Approach will get a 1.5 miles, or might even try and be a Triple Crown winner if everything went right in the Guineas? I mean, what would you tell us about that from the breeding side of it?
Well, he may not stay much beyond a mile. That would be on his breeding. But because he has such a good temperament and he can lob along in his races, it is possible that he could get 1.5 miles.
And that running style is an interesting one, because you could almost describe him, although you may not, as lazy, in that he does seem to need a bit of cajoling, pushing, scrubbing. And certainly in his races as a 2-year-old over shorter distances, up to 7 furlongs, he appeared to be doing his best work once up to 7 at the end of those races. What would you say?
That is true, yeah. Well, he seems to know that he has to conserve his energy, and he does all that. And when he's asked, then he's prepared to knuckle down, and he has a lovely turn of foot.
Is there any worry that he could become almost too lazy at the start of his races?
No, because at this stage, Kevin knows him very well, and he knows how to stoke him up, and he always responds. So I much prefer to be training him now than training his sire, who was, inclined to be very strong from flag fall. But this fella settled really. He'll jump out with a bit of gusto, and he'll have him settled in 50 or 100 yards, and then he practically falls asleep and just lobs along. But when he needs him, then he's there.
So you would see that as a positive rather than negative. I'm thinking if he was American horse, yeah, and we all know how in Europe people hate headgear and all that kind of stuff compared to the American. But if he was an American trained horse, he might already have a pair of blinkers on him just to say, don't fall asleep. But you're happy with that situation?
Yeah, I love his style of racing, and it suits me very well. It suits Kevin, and it certainly suits the horse himself. So I wouldn't change anything about it.
After the Dewhurst, you said Dawn Approach was every bit as good as New Approach. You won the Dewhurst, of course, with Teofilo as well. Do you still stick by that? Is this one of the best you've had?
I think he's right up there with New Approach and Teofilo, yeah.
I'm not sure whether you want to answer this or how you answer it, but why would you sell him, Jim? I mean, the obvious answer is money, but you can't need cash particularly.
Oh, I do, badly. I mean, I have 102 staff, and they have to be paid, and they have to know that their jobs are secure. And, I have to have a big turnover every year. So the only way that I can survive is by selling. And I can't afford to fall in love with them. I mean...
Have you fallen in love with him, though?
What? I like him a lot.
And the horse himself, as he leads up to the 2000 Guineas, is he absolutely bang where you'd want him? You couldn't have him in any better shape?
Well, as of today, I'm very happy with him, and I'm happy with his level of fitness.
And Toronado, is he the big danger? Is there any horse you fear, or is it still the case that Toronado's name makes you feel that he can't be any good?
No, I think obviously from his form last year, he is unbeaten, and he put on a terrific show in the Craven. So he's a very good racehorse, and I'd have great respect for him and for the two Hannons, and Richard Hughes, and he's formidable competition for us, as is Aidan's 3 horses or whatever he'll run. So, and there might be 1 or 2 others there as well. So, you know, this is not going to be easily won, and whatever horse wins it will earn it.